If you are a QGIS user and want to use it for drone mapping and mission planning for your DJI Mini 3 Pro, 4 Pro, or Mini 5 Pro, then this video is exactly for you. My name is Salar, Senior Geospatial Engineer and Drone Mapping Enthusiast. I built a QGIS plugin called FlyPath that lets the QGIS users to completely do their mapping mission inside the QGIS software and then export it directly into the remote controller with no extra steps. So if you're ready, let's go into the QGIS software and try to build one together from scratch. Before we dive in, I want to quickly mention that I'm founder of Dronnix, a Calgary-based drone mapping startup, and this video is sponsored by Dronnix. Now that we are in QGIS, I'm going to assume that you already have it installed on your computer. And if you do not, there's a link in the description below where you can find the download link for that. It's completely free and open source software. Also, a quick note, I'm using the QGIS version 4 in this video, but FlyPath also works on QGIS version 3. So you can follow along the video on either version. The first thing we need to do is actually install the FlyPath plugin, and the easiest way to do this is through the QGIS plugin manager. So for doing this, go to the plugins on the top menu and then click on the manage and install plugin. Go to the all, then type in the search bar FlyPath and then click on it, and then there should be an install plugin button where you're going to hit it, and then it will install the plugin for you. And then after the installation completed, you need to make sure that the box beside the FlyPath is checked. You're going to simply close this window. In the toolbar menu, you will find the icon where if you click on that, you will see the whole menu of the FlyPath on your QGIS software in the very right side of it. Now that we have the tool, we need to define our survey area. In FlyPath, there are two ways to do this. The first one is to simply draw a polygon directly on the map by using the Draw Polygon on Map button, which is integrated into the FlyPath plugin. And the second way is to select an existing polygon from a vector layer, which can be imported from a file or created in a QGIS. Each approach has its own use case. If you're working with multiple survey areas, you can create and save them as a vector file on your computer and reuse them whenever needed. Pick the one that fits your workflow best. And in this video, I will cover both options. So the first method is pretty simple actually. You're just going to use the Draw Polygon on Map button, which is inside the FlyPath. Click on that, and you'll see that your cursor shape is changes. So this means that it is activated and it's ready to actually draw your polygon. So start by left clicking and left clicking for entire polygon. When you're happy at the end, you want to close it up, you want to finish drawing, you're just right clicking there. So here we go. This is the polygon that we want to work on that and then creating our waypoints on it. So just one quick note, if you're not happy with the last vertex or the corner point, you're just simply pressing backspace. And yes, if you're not happy with the entire polygon you've drawn, you're just clicking on the remove button and this will be removed or deleted. And then you can start over. So the second method is actually when you have a vector file which has a polygon for the survey area, and then you import it and then use it for define the parameters to generate waypoints for your mission. But since, for example, in my case, I don't have any pre-drawn saved in a vector file, I'm going to use my own vector file and draw a polygon by using a QGIS tools, so that this will be this kind of same as you imported. So I'll go basically to the layer, create layer. Since I don't want to keep it, I'm just using the temporary from the scratch. And then I say it survey area polygons, and then coming here, and then for the geometry type, I'm selecting the polygons. It is better to be in the same as the project coordinate reference system, and I do this. I say, okay, so we have created the vector layer, which is temporarily is not saved in a local computer. So for drawing, you have to make sure that the toggle editing button is checked. You go simply to this button, which is for adding the polygon feature. You click on that and then come into the area that you want to create a polygon. For that, by using the QGIS, its own features or tools. Once you're happy with that, you can save it. You can also create a new one, for example, like this one, and then close it. You can go ahead and then create others as well, and then pick the one that you want to start working on that. Or you can have multiple survey areas and then define their waypoints one by one and export them into your controller one by one. So for this one, I'm going to save it. I'm actually going to change the symbology, as I am not happy with the way that they're being shown in the QGIS. I will try to use an unfilled mode where only the borders are there. I'm going to simple fill, make it just a simple line. Need to change the color and then the stroke width. And then, yeah, here we go. So these are the polygons that we created inside our vector layer, which is a temporary one. It's not stored. It can be stored and it can be imported and then use them for our FlyPath mission planning. So once we have all these, we can simply go to the layer, select the layer, which you can see, for example, after creating the vector layer, we have it. Right now, we can simply select that. And now here's the feature drop-down menu for selecting the area that we need to exactly select the polygon that we want to create the flying mission for that one. For in this case, we need to fly over the park area, and then we need to create the waypoints for this one. So that's why I'm just simply select this one, and that's all. This is the second method. So both methods has its own advantages, but for this one of the advantages that came to my mind is that if somebody else, for example, wants you to fly over that area, and simply they're sending you the vector layer of that polygon or that area, so you can open it in the QGIS and then use it as a surveying area and then generate the waypoints and fly paths for that one easily. In these cases, for example, you can accept orders from your customer and then easily import into the QGIS software and then work on creating, generating the waypoints and export it into RC controllers. Now that we have our survey area defined, it's time to configure the flight parameters using the flight path. The first thing to do is to actually go to the top drop-down menu and select the drone model that you're going to use it. So in the current version, which is the version 1.1.0 for the flight path, the drones that are supported are the DJI Mini 3 Pro, 4 Pro, and Mini 5 Pro. And since I'm going to use the DJI Mini 4 Pro, I'm going to select that one from the list. And second one is selecting the survey area, which we did actually before, but I'm going to do the same thing again. So we have the survey area polygons. We have 3 polygons there. The correct layer is selected. To select the exact polygon from the polygons in this layer, you need to select the actual feature ID of that polygon. So in our case, since we are going to generate the mapping or the orthophoto for the park region, I'm going to select that one's a feature. And since it's yellow, that is selected. The next parameter is the altitude, which determines the flight height above ground level, and the unit for that is meters here. I will go with the 100 meter for this one. As you change the altitude, you may notice that the GSD updates accordingly. So the higher you fly, the larger GSD and the lower the image detail will be. And the lower you fly, the sharper your image will be. So these two are kind of directly connected to each other. In the next version of the FlyPath, we are planning to let you define the GSD directly instead of just trying to changing the altitude in order to get to the desired spatial resolution or the GSD value. And because sometimes you already know the image resolutions that you need, and it makes more sense to actually to be able to let the tool calculate the altitude based on your desired spatial resolutions that you want to get from your images. The next parameter is the side overlap, which controls the spacing between your flight lines. The default value is the 70%, and I usually keep it something between the 70 and 75%. Going higher means more coverage and better quality, but your mission takes longer and use more battery. So going lower speeds things up, but risks gaps in your final map. So 70 to 75% is a safe range for most mapping jobs. I recommend to start with if you're a beginner. Then we need to define the speed. The speed is actually how fast the drone flies between the waypoints, and the unit for that is meters per second. A lower speed gives the camera more time between the shots and improves your long track coverage. But yeah, here I'm just keeping it as the default value, which is 5 meters per second. Direction controls the angle of your flight lines. You can type a specific angle here, or you can just hit the auto button and the FlyPath will calculate the best direction based on your survey area shape for you. I'll go with the auto, and the 0 degree means that the flight lines will be in the vertical way. And finally, margin adds a small buffer around the edges of your polygon, so the flight lines extend slightly beyond your boundary. And this makes sure you do not miss the edges of your area. And the default value is 0, and it's fine in most of the cases. So I'll go with the 0 here. Now, let's move to the camera settings. We have two main parameters here. One of them is the gimbal angle, the other one is the photo interval. So the first one is the gimbal angle, which controls the tilt of your camera. And for the 2D mapping, you always want to set it to the minus 90 degrees, which points the camera straight down to the ground for a nadir shot. And the next one is the photo interval. Photo interval, which is the time between each photo in seconds. One important thing here to know is that FlyPath cannot trigger the camera automatically during the mission. So before you take off the drone, you need to go into the drone settings and manually enable auto interval capture mode and set it to match the value that you see here in the FlyPath. So under these two, you'll see two values that get updated instantly as you adjust the other parameters. The first one is the shot spacing, which is the distance between the consecutive photos along the flight path calculated from your drone speed multiplied by the intervals. The second one is the front overlap, which shows you the effective along track coverage percentage between your photos. And if this value turns into a red, it means that the overlap is too low and you may lose the quality in your final map. To fix that, so either reduce your speed or shorten your photo intervals. For example, you have to consider that your photo intervals based on your drone capabilities cannot be reduced too much. For example, I do believe that the 2 is the lowest photo interval time that you can set for the DJI Mini 4 Pro. So you have to be careful of that value as well. However, I'll try to increase it to show you that the threshold value for the front overlap is 70%. If you are above that, you're good. If you're below that, you may lose the quality of your map product. So the last set of the parameters in the FlyPath tool is the safety actions, and there are mainly two of them. So the first one is the finish action, which is just basically you're determining what the drone should do once it finishes the mission. And the second one is that what the drone should do when it loses the signal or the connection to the remote controller. There are actually a couple of the options that for each of them that you can select, but I usually just keep the default one, which is the remote return to home. And I do believe that this is the safest option that you can go with it. But yeah, feel free to select the one that better, works for you. And finally, if you're happy with the set of the parameters that you've defined into the FlyPath, you're just basically going to the preview on map button. And then as soon as you click on that, the FlyPath will generate two types of the vector file for you, which includes the points, the waypoints themselves, and the path for you. Let's check them out like this one. This one is the waypoints, and this one is actually the lines, which shows the path that your drone will fly along them to complete the mission. So if you're happy with this one, you can go and then export it. But if you're not happy with them, you can just simply click on the clear preview, and then you can, for example, change the parameters that you've, set initially for the first one. You then click on that. And you don't actually need to each time to say the clear preview. You can just simply go and then change any of the parameters. It will clear it for you, but we have this one just in case that you don't want to change the parameters, but you want to clear the waypoints. It's okay. You can just go and then hit the clear preview one. And yeah, but just one final thing to keep in mind is that it doesn't change it live as you adjust the parameters. So you need to each time click on the preview on map to see the updates based on the modified parameters. Before exporting the KMZ file from the FlyPath you generated in QGIS, you need to first create one inside the remote controller. To do that, when you turn on the remote controller, open the camera view and tap on the Waypoints icon. This will open the Waypoints panel. Tap on the map area to open the full map on the bigger screen, and then navigate to any area and start placing the waypoints by tapping anywhere on the map. You need, I think, at least 3 waypoints to save a valid mission file. I will just place a few randomly here, and I do believe that maybe the 6 waypoints is enough for us in this stage. Once you're done, tap again on the waypoints icon and then click on save and exit. And the reason we are doing this is that we need an initial waypoints file already saved on the remote controller. This is what allows FlyPath to find and replace it with the mission file we generated in the QGIS. And that's it. The controller is now ready. Now that we have the waypoint file inside the remote controller, we can replace it with the one that we generated, or we are generating them in the QGIS using the FlyPath tool. But to export it, I'm going to use a different version of the FlyPath, which is also available in the QGIS plugins. At least in the times of the recording, the version is 1.3.0, and this is the version that I'm going to use it. And the reason that I'm gonna use this version is that it has a button that finds your RC controller automatically along with the existing waypoint files, so that you can make sure which waypoint files you're gonna replace it. And you just plug the controller into the computer with the cable, and then FlyPath sees it, also sees the waypoints mission files, and then show you their passes, so you can see what's actually already there. And this makes things really easy for you. You can work fast, you explore fast, and you can clearly see which mission you're actually going to replace. So you just look at the old waypoints next to the new one from the QGIS in the FlyPath panel. So you exactly know that which is which before replacing it. So to change the version of the FlyPath and upgrade it to the current version available, we basically go to the plugins, manage and install plugins. And then from the installed one, you're just trying to find it because you've already installed that one and it's available there. So here in the information section, you can see that this is the version that is installed in your computer and you are using it already. And this is the most recent version, which is available for you. And we're going to use this one. And you just simply click on the upgrade plugin and it will upgrade it for you. And yes, so here you can see the updated version of what we have. So basically the parameters are really the same. There's no change in the parameters. This is only the UI that is changed. So one more time, we're trying to select the drone, the DJI Mini 4 Pro in my case. The survey area is selected. And then the feature should be the feature ID related to the one that you wants to create the KMZ file for that. You're gonna hit the preview on map, which will generate two vector files that you need to generate the waypoint file. And then from there, you need to actually use the cable, which is connected to your remote controller, and plug it to your computer. And from there, once it is connected, you have to make sure that your remote controller is on. And then after that, you're going to click on the auto detect RC, which will detect your remote controller, which is connected to your laptop. And then from there, it will populate this drop-down menu with the existing waypoints file inside your remote controller. So this is the one that we have created, and I also created two others. But to make sure that which one you're gonna replace it, so you can actually change them from here, and then by looking in the shape of the path, you can actually define which one is the one that you want to replace it with the one that you just generated. So for example, I'm going to replace this one, and then hit the replace button. And it says that the mission is successful. The number of the waypoints that is exported is blah, 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 and some information about the new waypoints. And as soon as the new one is actually exported into the RC controller, you can see that the other one, the one with the 6 waypoints, is just removed and the new one is replaced. So this drop-down menu is actually connected to the RC controller, and it's just reading the files which exist inside the remote controller. So if I'm going to check it actually from here in the remote controller, I would be able to find the exact files that we copied here. Going to the waypoints again, and then document, and then this one. So going to find this and then show it to you guys that you can make sure that this is exactly the one that we just created. Yeah. You can see that this is exactly the one that we just created. The curvy waves, the curvy shapes that you see is because of the limited number of the waypoints that we used just on the ends. So it's actually the optimized version of the DJI actually shows them on the controller. But this is what you actually need to have the limited version of the waypoints to be able to create the map for that area. And yes, that's all you need to use the FlyPath for your mission planning. Create your own waypoints and take it out to test on your own drone. It's really that simple. You don't even need to get connected to the internet. The only things that you need is the QGIS and the FlyPath installed, and there's only a few parameters that you want to set up to be able to have your mission and export it to your remote controller. The only important things that I need you guys to keep in your mind is that turn on the interval photo shooting before starting from the first waypoint and make sure that it's actually activated and is running. This is actually what takes your photos during the flight, and no photos means no map. So don't forget to do it. And if the content of this video helped you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll share more like this content in the future from this channel. It really helps the channel to grow. So take care, fly safe, and see you in the next one. Bye.